In this video, I'm going to show you how to make dance floor drum and bass like Kanine. Now this video is in celebration of my brand new sample pack release, the Dancefloor DnB sample pack. It's the first link down below if you want to grab that. This pack is massive. It's got over 500 samples in, 100 serum presets, and 3 project templates, including the track that we're going to go through today. Now this track is a recreation of Kanine Release Me. The track is in F minor, it's 174 BPM, and we're going to go through it systematically. So as you can see here, we've got a 16 bar intro, a 16 bar breakdown, a 16 bar build up, and then a 16 bar drop, a 16 bar drop part 2, and then a 16 bar drop part 3, which also sort of works as a transition into the breakdown, and then it just repeats itself for drop 2. So we're going to go over the drums, then we're going to go over the basses. Unfortunately, we can't look at the vocals because we'll get copyright, but we will look at some of the vocal effects, then we'll look at the instruments, and then we'll look at the effects. If we could go for 100 likes in this video, that would be insane, so please smash that like button. So let's start with the first 16 bars of the drums. So if we zoom in and change it to step mode, we're using dance floor hi-hat number 2, and we're using dance floor hat 3, and together these sound like this. And this is just literally repeated for 16 bars. So then in the breakdown, the next 16 bars, it's slightly changed up. So it's hitting every other beat. And we've got dance floor hat number 2 layered with dance floor hat number 6. It sounds like this. And then that's repeated for the 16 bars. And then in the build up, we get it all changing up again. So we have the kick drum playing the normal drum and bass rhythm. So on the beat and then halfway across the third beat. And this is slowly being EQ'd, as you can see here. And how we do this is we simply just grab the side we want to EQ. So this side, for example, highlight this section, which we've already done. So you just hold control and then drag across like that. And then we can just right click here, create automation clip. And then we can literally just right click on here to drag it into position, which we've done. And it will create something like this. So you can see it's just the low end, and then it's slowly bringing in some of the mids and the highs, so that it becomes more apparent in the mix as it gets closer to the drop. And then we switch to a build-up pattern. 3, 4, da, 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 bum, 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 bum. And you can see the shape I've gone for there. So it kind of gets louder and then gets quieter again, and then we go into the drop. So feel free to copy this or create your own style. The automation just helps a lot. And then on top of that, we have this clap layered. So the kick was dance floor kick 3, and the clap is dance floor clap 3. And the clap has just got some reverb on it, and the clap is hitting every other beat throughout like this. And you can see we have a filter on it as well that slowly comes off. And then on top of that, we have a snare, and this is just hitting in between the claps. And that's just repeated throughout, and of course drops off just before the drop. Then on top of that, we have some percussion. And this is just hitting in the third beat section here. And this is dance hall perk number 6. So all together we get this. And that's repeated for 3/4 of the build up. And then it switches to this hi-hat 7 here. And you'll hear why. That matches with the kick drum. You see the kick drum's playing like this, and then like this, and then like that, and then cuts off here. Because what we have here is this really cool drum fill that I've made. And then it goes into the drop. And these are just a load of Tom's instruments. There's a few in the sample pack, and I just changed the pitch of them to get that downward sound. So next, let's have a look at how we create these really atmospheric drums. So we grab the first 4 bars and then let's recreate it. So to start with, we've got kick number 3, and this is going to come in at the start of every single bar like this. And then we're only going to put it across the first beat like this. And you'll see why later on when we introduce the basses and the instruments. It's because there's so much going on that we don't need more kicks. We just want to let the track breathe with the instruments. Then we've got this crazy snare, dance floor snare number 4. which is like a really nice atmospheric snare. And this is just going to come on the second beat and the fourth beat every single time like this. And then we're going to add in some hi-hats for the top end. And we've got Dancefloor hi-hat 7 here, just coming in every single beat. Copy these across like this. So we get this. And then we've got Dancefloor hi-hat 8 here, which just comes in every single bar, adding some transient to the kick drum. And then we're just going to layer up the main hi-hat, the third hi-hat, with an extra hi-hat, which is Dancefloor hi-hat 9, just to make it stand out a little bit more. And there we go, they're the drums. And then these pretty much repeat for the whole 8 bars. Then the next 8 bars, we add in this little percussion element. This is Dancefloor perk loop 9. There's loads of these like top perks that you can just drag in onto your track, and it makes it sound way better. And then in this section, the kicks turn into like normal kick pattern. And that's because the leads and the basses change up a little bit, which you'll see later on. And then everything just sort of copy and pastes across into the breakdown and second drop. So now let's look at the basses. So there's a lot of basses going on here, and they all are made on Serum. And all of these presets are available in the Dancefloor pack, as well as loads more. These are some insane presets, so I really recommend getting the pack. So let me just play the basses for you. So we've got a growl bass at the start, a supporting bass afterwards, and then we've got our main Reese bass playing. So let me show you the growl bass first. So you can see we're using a analog sine wave with the sync button on here, -2, and some unison on with the detune down. And then we've got our monster wavetable here. It's like the Reese bass style one on -2 as well, with this setting on here. And then you can see we've got LFO1 going into loads of things on envelope mode, quarter mode. That's creating that pattern. It's on the level, it's on here, the cutoff here, this filter's on this one here, and then on the effects here, we've got it on the filter again, on band reject, and then we've just got these settings on here. And then we have got a little bit of post-processing on it. So we have got this trash 2 on these settings. And then we've got a little bit of reverb, and this EQ is getting rid of the lows, because we do put a sub bass underneath it, as you can see. We've got our sub bass, which is literally just this with this drawn on here, just a multi-layered sub bass with an EQ on. It's not just sub here, it's sub here as well, making it a bit thicker. And then we got our Kickstart 2 sidechain on as well. And if you don't know how to use Kickstart 2, I'll leave a tutorial down below on how that works. So this is just playing an F here, so it supports here, and then at the end it's playing an A sharp, and then it goes down to C sharp, and then it just repeats. Now let's look at bass 2, which is like the supporting bass. This plays after the first growl in each section. Do you see it plays here? And then it plays here. So in the sample pack, I have got these sections called supporting basses, and these are just like either to use at the start of a drop or just in the background supporting the main drop element. And they're really useful. They help build up like character in the drop. So this is just another 2 oscillators and a filter with these settings on, and then some distortion, compression, and chorus. And we've got some reverb on it as well, and a bit of EQ because we've got the sub underneath this one as well. You'll see there. And then finally we've got our Reese bass. So this is the gritty Reese bass, and it's very simply just a lot of unison, detune turned down, and then some distortion, sinefold distortion on these settings, some EQ and some compression. See how simple it is? But it creates that really awesome effect. And then again, we cut out the lows to put the sub bass underneath. So the pattern this is playing is here. And the sub bass is supporting it underneath. And then finally, we've got another Reese bass that comes at the end of the section, which I thought was really cool. And this is the Starlight to Reese bass. So we're using Reese Messy and Icon Has Kick. Very useful, this Icon Has Kick setting. And it's just on these settings here. And then we've got some distortion, a filter on EQs, bringing out some of the highs as well. Sounds really cool. So now we've gone over this melody, let's have a look at the lead. So we're using the snap lead. It's a little bit like the Reese bass I mentioned earlier with loads of detune on, but we're just using higher octaves. And we're using a bit of chorus, EQ, and compression. And then it's actually a sustained sound, so if I hold it down, the trick is to use really short notes here. Then it turns into a pluck. So this is the pattern we're using here. So we've got like these really short notes at the start that are giving it that cool bouncy feel to it. And then it's just sort of repeated. And there's a lot of additional plugins on this to make it sound better. So we've got an EQ just turning things down, Pro MB just boosting the mids and the highs, another EQ just getting rid of the lows because we don't really want any clashing with the low end for the lead. We've actually sent it to another channel you can see here to give it even more reverb and EQ, just because I wanted to quite max it out a little bit, make it sound as cool as possible, fill up a lot of space. And then this just repeats throughout. And then, you know how I mentioned earlier that it can be used as a sustained sound, this lead as well? Later down the line, we do use it as a sustained sound. So the respace and all that sounds the same. We get rid of some of the supporting basses, and then we have this lead bass playing this melody. And there you go. It creates that nice counter melody that we can use in the third section of the drop, and then it can nicely transition into a breakdown. So Kanine does a really good job of just like making a track sound full and complete. Like this is one of the best parts of the track in my opinion. It doesn't even come in till 1 minute 50 in the track, which is just crazy. So then we do have a second drop, but it's pretty much just the same, just only 32 bars, so not quite as long, but it uses most of the same elements, as you can see. This project template is also available in the add-on section of the website if you want to get that with the Dancefloor pack. I really recommend getting them both together. And if you actually want to take your music production to the next level and get one-to-one help from me, over 14 hours worth of courses, help releasing your music as well, then my Music Production Academy is available to join. It's the second link down below. So if you want more info on that, just click that, have a look through it and see if it's right for you. And if it is, I'll see you inside. So now let's have a look at the vocals. So the vocals are obviously from the original track. I can't play them for copyright issues, but you can see them here. You can see it's just vocal, 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 and then more vocal, and then it cuts out in the drop. And then at the end of each section, the vocal comes back in, and then it comes back in for the breakdown, and then repeats itself. But we have got this vocal atmos in the drop that sounds really awesome. So if I play it on its own and then play it with the other elements, it's literally just a vocal atmos I found on Splice. If you're struggling to make like atmospheric stuff, I did make a video on that recently. I'll leave a link to that down below. It's how to make atmospheric drum and bass. So with the basses you can hear. So that just continues pretty much throughout the whole drop and the whole second drop. Now let's look at the instruments. So what we've done here with the instruments is we've created a chord progression in F minor, and it looks and sounds like this. So you can see the root notes are here at the bottom. We've got F, G sharp, A sharp, C sharp. So they're all the chords that are used, and they're all in F minor. Now if you want to learn how to make chords, and I actually make this exact chord, I've got a complete chord progression video on my channel. I'll leave a link to that in the description. Make sure to check that out because it's really, really useful, and it can help you make loads more chords in the future as well. And it just saves me going through it again because it'll be like an extra 20 minutes to the video. So this is like the bass here, and we've got our root notes here and here for the respace and stuff that's only playing one note. So you can see we're using it here for the respace. You can hear the respace in the background. So we've got a piano and the respace. The piano, I just use Nexus 4. You can use literally any plugin with a piano on it for this. The respace is just another one from the Dancefloor pack, the deeper one. Looks a bit like this. And then essentially what we just do is we go through adding more layers. So we add a pad here, which is from Nexus, exactly the same chord progression, and it's just layered on top of the piano. And we add in this ARP for variation, and I go through this ARP in that other video as well, but it's essentially just playing this melody. And it's got a load of reverb and EQ on it as well. It's all following the F minor scale and just playing loads and loads. So if I just zoom in for you, just go through it. Now this wasn't actually from the Kanine track, I just added this bit in myself because I thought it sounded really cool and I didn't want to just copy it exactly. I wanted to put a bit of my own inspiration into it as well. So then we've got another layer here, which is like a wobble synth. So it's a lead wobble, it gradually comes in. And I believe I did put this an octave higher. So I just copied it in, then dragged it up an octave higher. And then we've got this weird lead playing just the root note F throughout the whole thing, adding some more atmos and background noise to the build-up. So you can see we've got 3 main layers. We've got our ARP, we've got this lead, background noise, and then we've got our respace. And this just keeps playing throughout. And we automate different things in gradually, like the wobble bass, just to keep the track moving and getting it sound awesome. And then a couple elements carry over into the drop, but these are EQ'd, so it's just the high end of it. And what they do is they give some supporting elements to that vocal atmos I showed you before. So if you turn these on, you can hear that playing as well as this. And let me play it all together with the drop for you. So this is without the instruments on the drop. And then this is with them. Just add some more atmos to the track. Now I wouldn't normally recommend doing this. I wouldn't normally recommend putting your instruments in the drop, but for this like full atmospheric style of drum and bass, it does work better. It's just a certain style of drop that works with this. So you got to experiment and make sure it's going to work with the track that you're working with. Most of the time I would just end all my instruments at this point and then focus on basses and drums for the drop and maybe some little effects. Finally, let's look at the effects. So we're using an Atmos from the Dancefloor pack. This just sounds like this. There's loads of these in the pack. You can just drag and drop them in. We've got a down filter. We've got another down filter, but a longer one. And then we've got a riser. So these are causing like little sweep effects. And then on the breakdown, we've got our impact. And then when the build-up comes in, we've got a couple of risers coming in here. So riser 1 and riser 3. And these are EQing in as well, so they sound less aggressive right at the start. And then these just come in again in the second drop area to create some transition elements, and then it's just repeated throughout. So you can see how simple using this project template makes it all. It's all very nicely organized and easy to understand. So now we've done that, let's listen to the recreation. Unfortunately, I can't play the vocals, but you'll get an idea of what it sounds like from everything else. Now remember, this project template, as well as 2 more project templates, over 500 samples and 100 serum presets are available in my brand new Dancefloor DnB pack. So make sure to grab that to make way better music. And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and got value from it, please hit that subscribe button, turn that notification bell on. We release a new video here every single week, jam-packed with as much information to teach you about music production. And if you've got any video suggestions, any tracks you want me to break down, leave them down below and I'll reply to every single comment. And I do actually recreate a lot of suggestions people give me. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.